Good afternoon, everyone. Friends, I've been sitting here and I thought, why don't we discuss who is the strongest of all the characters in the amazing digital circus? Come on, sit back, pour yourself a cup of tea or coffee. Here we go. Each of us watching the amazing digital circus must have felt a sense of helplessness and despair, realizing that a slight narrative permeates the entire plot of the show. However, this is incomparable to what all the characters are experiencing. And by looking at the depth of the issue, we find out who is the strongest character in the show. As we all know, this digital circus is a special virtual universe. Kane. Bubble lives here, along with a lot of people trapped in this world, along with the accompanying NPCs. But the worst part is that it is impossible to get out of this world, at least for the moment. The characters who are trapped in this trap have only two choices: accept their fate and move on, or turn into a monster. In every soul of the circus player lurks a monster capable of destroying everything in its path. But this monster will only manifest itself when the player finally succumbs to despair and loses control of himself. These basic rules are known to all of us. We realize that there is a dark force lurking inside every player, ready to burst out at the moment of weakness. You're asking me, who's the strongest? I'm going to explain it to you. And at the end of the video, you'll find out who I think is the strongest character in the amazing digital circus. To do that, we have to go through all the characters in the digital circus to see who's the strongest. But maybe someone didn't understand me. In this video, we are not talking about physical strength. In this video, I'm talking about who is the strongest psychologically. Who is the most stress-resistant? Who can handle all the hardships and challenges of the digital circus? First up is Ragatha. Ragatha is known for her resilient spirit and incredible optimism. Her ability to stay afloat in this difficult world is based solely on her positive approach to everything. She literally radiates joy and inspiration, which allows her to cope with any difficulties. But there is something more behind her constant smile. Ragatha has to maintain this positivity even in the most difficult moments, so that she doesn't succumb to despair and become a monster like many other players in the circus. Her excessive optimism is not just a character trait, but a vital survival strategy. Ragatha believes that it is her positive attitude that can influence those around her, helping them also to keep their spirits up and fight their inner demons. She becomes a kind of ray of light for all those around her in this dark world. Even in the darkest times, she finds the strength to smile and support others, turning her positivity into a powerful weapon against despair. Her shining example inspires other characters to look for the positives in even the most hopeless situations. She actively participates in the lives of other players, trying to find words of encouragement and comfort for everyone. Her optimism becomes contagious, and even those who have almost given up hope begin to believe that a way out of this world is possible. Next up is Gangle. Gangle stands out with her comedic mask and a certain fragility. Her behavior is filled with anxiety when interacting with others, which makes her unique and memorable. But what happens if you take away these elements? If stripped of her comedic mask and vulnerability, Gangle could change dramatically. She would no longer seem harmless and funny. Instead, she could be presented as a potential monster hiding behind familiar traits. Her fragility and restlessness are not just character traits, but defenses against a world full of danger. Without them, Gangle risks becoming a completely different creature, embodying the darker sides of this digital reality. It's important to remember that even the most lovable and comedic characters can hide darkness within them. Gangle is an example of how important details are in creating a character. Her mask and behavior protect her and those around her from her true nature, which can be much darker and more dangerous than meets the eye. Next up is Jax. Jax is the typical pophagist and cynic of this world. He plays the role of the local Joker, enjoying everything that happens around him, satisfying his dark fantasies and needs. His personality combines a sense of indifference and black humor. Jax sees this digital world as a playground for experimentation, playing with his own ideas and often ignoring the consequences of his actions. He is not afraid to take risks, and his disregard for the rules makes him sort of an outlaw in this virtual universe. For Jax, the lines between reality and play are blurred. He uses his reputation as a cynic to control situations and manipulate those around him. His behavior may seem careless and even dangerous, but it makes him one of the most prominent and complex characters in the digital circus. Next up, we have Zooble. Zooble is another nonchalant member of the amazing digital circus, who basically wants only one thing: to be left alone. Despite her indifference, she brings a special atmosphere to the show, charming the audience with her unique presence. Zooble prefers to stay in the shadows and avoid attention, but this is what makes her such an enigmatic and attractive figure to fans. Her ability to melt into the crowd and stand out at the same time creates an interesting contrast that fuels viewers' curiosity. Every time she appears on stage, the moment is special and unexpected, leaving everyone wondering what she will do next. Next, we'll talk about the Kinga, a unique and unstable phenomenon that breaks out of all categories and rules. Imagine a person who is constantly overwhelmed by a multitude of thoughts, and his personality is so blurred that it becomes his main defense. This is why he is not susceptible to abstraction, like many of his predecessors. Let's look into why this is the case. Normally, for someone to abstract, they must have a well-defined personality and a clear consciousness. These characteristics can be damaged or broken. But Kinga is an exception to this rule. He is constantly on edge, jumping from one thought to the next and suddenly giving out violent emotions. This randomness and inability to focus on one thing at a time has become his armor. Ironically, it's his instability and chaos that protects him from abstraction. If you know someone similar to Kinga, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. And for dessert, I left a character who I really think is the strongest character in the amazing digital circus. Pomni is, in my opinion, the strongest character in the show. And now I'll explain why I think so. We remember from series 1 and 2 how Pomni repeatedly experienced the notes and verge of a nervous breakdown from feelings of despair and hopelessness. These feelings were especially heightened in moments when she showed kindness and simply wished for freedom. At such moments, terror and misery overtook her. So you see what the point is? Pomni felt despair every time and more than once was on the verge of abstracting herself. Each of her good actions and desires for freedom were met with insurmountable obstacles that drove her into even greater despair. These moments of Pomni's despair and struggle not only make her a character you become attached to, but also make the audience think about their own feelings and experiences. How often do we ourselves face situations where our good intentions and desires for freedom are jeopardized? Pomni demonstrates that even in the most difficult situations, it is important to keep fighting and not give up hope. Her story is a reminder that our emotions and feelings matter, and that even in moments of despair, we can find the strength to keep going. What's that nightmare from the second episode? Even despite all the horrors she endured, Pomni managed to stand her ground and retain her sanity on numerous occasions. Experiencing such a tearing of the personality within, her emotional suffering was incredibly intense and heartbreaking. Emotionally, holding one's sanity under such conditions requires tremendous inner stamina and willpower. Pomni demonstrates incredible resilience and the ability to keep her feelings under control despite the odds. If any of the other characters were under the same pressures and emotions that Pomni experiences, many would quickly become abstracted. The main dimension of strength in the world of the amazing digital circus is mental stability. All previous physical stats are irrelevant here, because it is impossible to kill players physically. The only weapon that can destroy a person in the circus is despair. Pomni's story is not only about fighting external circumstances, but also about the incredible inner strength that allows her to endure. Her example teaches us that even in the most difficult situations, we can find the strength to keep going and maintain our mental health. Pomni does very well in this regard. Her incredible willpower and resilience help her to persevere even in the most difficult situations. But what is particularly impressive is her ability to not think solely of herself. With the moral weight and risks that she can abstract at any moment, Pomni also helps others. She shows empathy and compassion, which makes her an order of magnitude stronger than others. While others can barely take care of themselves, Pomni is able to lend a helping hand to those in dire need, leaving no one behind. Even with death breathing down her neck, Pomni is not reluctant to help those around her. This trait of hers makes her a true hero in the eyes of the other characters and the audience. Her kindness and willingness to help make her a role model. In this way, Pomni demonstrates that true strength lies not only in the ability to cope with one's own problems, but also in the ability to help others despite all the difficulties. Her story shows that even in the most difficult circumstances, it is possible to remain human and show kindness. Pomni's compassion does play a huge role. Her willingness to help others can save many from becoming uncontrollable monsters. And believe me, such candidates are already looming. Her empathy and concern for others helps keep order and support other characters in difficult moments. It's also important to note that Pomni has slowly but surely begun to build friendships with her team. These relationships may become key in the future when she is not indifferent in times of trouble. Her ability to interact and support her team makes her even stronger. Pomni combines sensitivity, intuition, and the ability to build healthy bonds with people. This makes her the strongest character morally. It won't be easy to break her, as she not only deals with her inner demons, but also helps others fight their own. All in all, Pomni shows incredible moral strength that allows her to endure any adversity and continue to help others. Her story inspires and teaches us the importance of compassion, friendship, and resilience. If you're interested in learning more about the characters and events of Digital Circus, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Share your opinions in the comments, and tell us how you cope with inner challenges and what helps you not to give up and help others.